protocols observed, established, the protocol of the establishment is respected. This is the conversation with young people. We dispose of all of the official procedures. Thank you for the presentation. I enjoy it. But just listening to you, there's a need for law reform. Because I strongly believe that nobody should exercise any official duty without first declaring asset. I think there's a need for law reform there. That as soon as you are nominated, you should prepare your asset declaration. It should be presented to the Senate so they can use it to vet you even before you take the office. Right now, for example, they are putting government in there 5-6 months. They have already been controlling assets. We cannot be sure that some of the assets that we declare be the assets that they are now converted to their own. So the law as it is requires reform, because if it remains that way, it will promote corruption. This is the first formal speech that I'll be delivering since the election. So this is historic. Since the election, I have not had an occasion to speak formally anyway. I have made remarks at programs in England, but to formally speak, CEO has the first opportunity. And I want to do so. I've been silent. I want to do so because corruption is so important. The fight against corruption is so important. I cannot keep silent on it. My dear friends, I want to speak to you briefly about the fight against corruption. Every politician in Africa, both those of the ruling party and the opposition party, speak about fighting corruption during election time. On Inauguration Day, a whole paragraph and sometimes an entire page of the speech dwells on the determination to fight corruption. Governments after governments in most African countries tend to emphasize the fight against corruption as a #1 priority on their policy agenda. But the evidence has shown that the premise of fighting corruption is only good for campaign. When African politicians get to power, they put aside their campaign promises of fighting corruption and begin to make excuses. And when they are reminded by the civil society and opposition parties, they give all kinds of excuses. Most often, they say the reality is different in government than outside government. Yet, as they make these excuses, they and their family and friends live a better life than the majority of the people. While those in power and their children eat 3 times a day, the majority of the citizens usually find it difficult to even have 1 meal a day. While those in power and their families have access to the best medical treatments in their countries, and most often out of their countries, the majority of their citizens die from malaria, running stomach, headache, and other curable diseases. While the children of those in power go to the best schools in and out of their countries, the children of the poor majority are often out of school. And the few that are in school are attending substandard schools. The difference between the lives of those in power and those who are governed by them in most African countries is like day and night. Yet, they are citizens of the same country. The negative effect of corruption in West Africa on the people of West Africa is far greater than other regions in Africa. Air travel in West Africa, for example, is more difficult than in most regions of Africa. At one time in West Africa, there was Air Afrique. There was also Nigeria Airways, Ghana Airways, providing air travel services within West Africa, across Africa and the world. All of these West African airlines collapsed due to corruption. Today, the people of West Africa rely largely on Air Ethiopia, Kenya Airways from East Africa, and Air Morocco from North Africa. With this kind of situation, tourism cannot develop in West Africa, and serious investors are reluctant to come to West Africa because of the unpredictability of air travels in West Africa. Corruption is the main impediment to sustained peace, economic development, political stability, and a better life, especially in West Africa, where are all the people tied to be? Can there be unity, reconciliation, and sustainable peace in any country in which a tiny minority of the people are visibly seen every day to be so rich by a majority of the people who are so poor that life has become so difficult to live? My answer is a big no. This situation cannot continue. The famous Liberian singer Tiawan Saye puts it squarely. His song, "They Lie to Us," explains the behavior of most politicians in Africa. Under this situation, we, the people of Africa, must start a new liberation war. Our war against colonization is over. The struggle for democracy has progressed at least to the point of holding regular elections. However, most election results in Africa have thus far been in favor of the corrupt politicians. Our new war, therefore, must be a war of the people against corruption, a people's liberation war against corruption. It must be a people's war without warlords. During this war, those who are caught in the war must be treated as war prisoners in people will know. In preparation for the war, there must be massive awareness about the nature, identity, and power of the enemy. This must be the #1 obligation of the press and the civil society. This will strengthen the people to identify corrupt politicians in order to reject them during elections and to name and shame them as well after each election if they remain corrupt. The second thing must be to reform the laws, just as I was saying, to reform the laws in all African countries. Amongst other things, removing the statute of limitation on corruption offenses. Sometimes it takes 5 to 6 years to know about corruption. Our statute of limitations says 5 years. That is a major frustration. Some time ago, during President Salim, there was corruption involving over 100 million, maybe over 100 million, over $100,000. And it was stated that some of the money was used to bribe the exhibitors. When the matter went to court, the lawyers for the culprits filed a motion to dismiss on the ground of statute of limitation. The case ended. It is a major restraint, a major impediment to fighting corruption. We have begun the struggle to mobilize our fighters for this liberation war. That is why we carry the broom. The broom stands for cleanliness. The broom. The broom stands for cleanliness. Therefore, we carry the broom as a symbol of our determination to fight our most powerful enemy against progress in Africa. Corruption. There must be a national broom movement, and in fact, a continental broom movement for the liberation of the African people from corrupt politicians. I call upon all the people of Africa, not just Liberia, especially the young people, to join the liberation war against corruption. Government is a place to serve, not to steal. A better Liberia is possible. A better Monorail Union region is possible. A better West Africa is possible. A better Africa is possible. And a better world is possible. The struggle against corruption continues. I thank you. Let me criticize the organizers of this meeting, because you see, corruption is based on the fight against corruption is based on the truth. My name is Cllr Gongloe. And this is terrible because I'm sure it's on the internet. Yes, Gllogloe. For the record, I'm Gongloe, Gongloe. Thank you. So that was the presentation of Councilor Tiawan Saye Gongloe. You listen to him. He's talking about liberating Africa to fight against corruption. He said he should launch a revolution against corruption and so on. Listen to him. So we'll take 4 questions and we'll come to the councilor to respond. So again, when you ask a question, we'll take it again. I'll go here. We'll take it first. Yeah, let me say thank you so much. That we have to Belgium. Ambassador Murray Esther Jr. I'm a person of Western Liberia, besides this Central District, Birmingham. Our council, you spoke well. And I've been following you for 8 years, actively. My first interaction with you was the time we went out of office. The foreign RG at the Ministry for Labor, Charles Brown, and I, we had an issue with Senabi. It is other an inquiry that I want to cover there. So, my inquiry has to do with, you are the political leader of the Liberia People's Party. 3 hours ago, the Liberia People's Party had a major press conference. I will report that in some of the printing that in the media. This is a territory inquiry perhaps, the audience of masses is utterly interesting. Your third person in President of Chairman Yankee Zeze made mention that the current government that we have is not a government of inclusion on the basis that 8 countries are not being represented at the level of the cabinet.
he started that there was a law passed that the legislator referring to the executive law, besides section 10.2. I want to know, can we hold the current head of state liable that why he did not live up to the executive law, which is section 10.2, that there all higher candidates to be represented at the level of the cabinet? Can we take any legal action or decision? And if the future carried on that? Yeah, that's my inquiry.
Thank you. Let me say thank you to the team. My name is Eric Kwai. I come from West Point. And I'm also the Secretary General of a new movement under the name the Patriots United for Better Liberia. Some of our members in here, please stand here. Actually, please stand. Chairman Sa is our chairman, and Honorable Achi Pompo is our spokesperson. We first of all want to commit our institution as a partner to your fight against corruption. And so we currently have a membership size of over 150 persons that cut across different communities. And as your reputation in the country is known, we have been engaging with various stakeholders, most especially the government, for us to be able to keep them accountable for the different promises that they've made to us during their times in campaign and as well as in government. And so we'll be looking forward to your different legal advice. It's a comment. Your different legal advice and as we move forward in this partnership. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank the organizer. Okay. Is it okay now? Okay. So I'd like to thank the organizer of this forum, and I also would like to thank Councilor Gongloe. You know, he's one of these persons I admire so much in this country. But here's my question. There's so much noise in this country now about concessions. All over this country. Either the Bushmaster is coming outside blocking road, seizing the concessions, and now you have the new issue about Western Coastal, MDA, MOU, vis-a-vis road permit, road not permit, and all that kind of stuff containing. What are you smelling? What is your take on the concessions in Liberia? Do we have genuine concessions? And where do we fall? Thank you.
Yeah, we are honored, Mr. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are happy to know that I'm around here, we just tell me, yeah, please help me stand by appreciating Councilor Gongloe. The first ever step-by-step recovery intake, so like I said, thank you for the opportunity. The first ever medication applied on me in the immediacy of the accident of that day. Councilor Gongloe was the one that provided the first. So to see me here and choke on the chief of security of the thing, then other people began by calling. So Councilor, I know you can see me now. Thank you for that first and the effort and the step-by-step you and the doctor were even to 2 o'clock before you left. I want to say thank you. I'm grateful. And like Mr. Kwai said, the Google platform. And can you imagine in the first 100 days under President Barker, which of course is prepared to align and say we want to be a part of the post soldier, that Mr. Gillespie, 175,000 cannot be accountable. No car. He said he took on the poor people savings in terms of the social welfare funding for retirees. How can President Barker sit there? The special assistant, one-time acting president, will choose to do that, and President Barker said he fighting corruption, and of course corruption cannot be fought. Councillor, are you prepared to support us in the court? And you know that, thank God I'm well, that we are prepared to sleep on the ring and there's something happening when I go for money. Prepared is going to do that action. Thank God you are coming here to do it. And so we want to align in the fight against corruption. will ask the question. Yeah, the question I want to say. So, sorry, Mr. Moderator. And so, Mr. Councillor, to the Brothers Against Corruption, we also pledge our commitment. And the question here is, do you also believe that President Buhari is committed to fighting corruption in Liberia? Fine.
No, we said we are taking 4. So, again, go. So, we will return to the councillor to address the concern and conclude. I don't want to speak about belief. Let me start from the beginning. Because if I believe about any of the candidates in terms of their commitment to transforming Liberia, I would not have been a candidate. And the fact that I was a candidate, I don't want to talk about what I believe about people at this point. What we need to do is to hold people accountable for what they said they would do. And that is what all of us should be doing. Now, somebody asked a question about the Bushmaster. It really is a good question, but it's not relevant to the topic we are discussing. However, I will tell you that we need peace. There must be law and order. And when I was Solicitor General, there was a situation that I implemented and said, let me tell you people, everything that moves in this country and brings it under the rule of law. If you violate the law, we will deal with it. But yes, many of these things are symptoms of bad leadership. When leaders don't pay attention, when there's no monitoring of compliance to concession agreements and all of that, to the conditions in the workplaces, these things happen. And it must be dealt with. Now we're getting to a terrible level where now people are beginning to use the rule of the jungle. That is bad. And that's something that the government should look at seriously because it makes government irrelevant. When people start taking steps to solve issues that confront them, and when they start succeeding, it makes government irrelevant. Because governance is by rule of law, and the other method is by rule of the jungle. So that's a serious warning sign of the irrelevance of the government and the government should look at. Otherwise, pretty soon, the government will be irrelevant. And it will not be good for us. Somebody, the only question I would ask about Executive Law Section 10.2. You see, I talk about excuses. That question goes to excuse. We were all running to be president of this country, to run a different country from the one that was run by CDC. Nobody should say, because CDC didn't do it, why should you hold the government accountable? The president, your answer is yes. President Buhari took oath to obey, promote, defend, implement, and execute the Constitution of Liberia and statute laws that have not been amended or repealed. A failure to uphold any existing law that has not been repealed is a violation of the law and violation of his oath of office. So yes, he is responsible. All of us who want to be president want to be president because all the presidents before us during our lifetime didn't do the kind of things that we expected. And all of us were campaigning on the agenda of transformation. Transforming means doing things differently, changing it for the better. not upholding law, being reckless, and just doing arbitrary things is one of the things that we're going to change. And as LPP said, and I'd like to repeat, we in the Liberian People's Party, and you know this is not a political forum, but I know that it can never be avoided, but that pressure goes to them. We were the first with that. There were calls that were coming to me from Unity Party and CDC in no more until we consulted with our partisans here and abroad and with our supporters. And we, independently, were the first of all the political parties in Liberia to endorse any of the two remaining parties. We endorsed Unity Party without any precondition, without any discussion with the Unity Party. President Barker himself went on his page and said, I respect LPP. Without discussion with them, they made a nationalistic decision. We have a moral obligation to the people of Liberia to make sure that the government who supported succeeds. And therefore, we will waste no time to speak truth to the government. We have a moral obligation to do so because we are faced with a question asked by the people. We follow you. We take what you want us to do. Are you satisfied with the results? So we have an obligation to speak truth. When the ruling party does well, we will say so. And we say so in our presidency. You done some good things, better good. You cancel diplomatic passport. You did something. But here are the areas that you are taking missteps. There are many. There are many. We cannot. Silence make you a co-conspirator. Our voices periodically will be made clear in the interest of the Liberian people. We are, in our party, we are not sycophants, we are not opportunists. Never. And me, I can boast because of the life I lived on my reputation that every government that has come to power, you know, people come ready to me for job. I have refused to opt, including this one. It's good for you young people to live a life of integrity. Whatever you want will walk to you. To be respected. International partners who want good for this country come to Congo and associate to talk to me. Not government. But leadership is not acquired from political office. Leadership stature is based on your total reputation, conduct. I am a leader of Liberia after government. And I will never waver from my responsibility to seek what is good for the Liberian people. I will advise privately, I will speak openly, when people don't listen to our advice. That question, nobody should ever ask the question, why are you asking this government to do the things that other government didn't do? But that's why this party was selected. Why you want to be like the other people? That is the worst argument. If anybody makes it, tell that person, you are one of the war criminals in the liberation war against corruption. Yes. What can we do? The job of colonization is gone. We have election. We're electing people who are corrupt. And every time we elect a new government, the condition that we argue against gets worse. It's terrible. It's shameful. And we must all spade. No. You young people should not be quiet. Oh, maybe if I speak government when opportunity comes for scholarship, I will not get it. But if you get scholarship, do you want to return to a country that is not popular government? How will you, how will you exercise? How will you contribute to the country based on what you've learned? No, the thing is bad. We have God, faith is faith. For me, I'm so senior in Liberia, more than many persons. I used to tell President Sully, for Liberia, I went to jail 6 years before you. I went to jail in 1978. Speaking against Liberia, let me tell you, I just will tell you, when you go to jail for your country, you become fearless. Even death does not scare you. The citizens who have gone to jail, those who have not gone to jail, two different types of people. When you lose your liberty for not committing crime, or for standing up for the people, you don't compromise so easily. I'm a different politician in this. I've been to jail. Not one time. I've even been tortured severely. That I had kidney damage. I couldn't walk in this town for more than 3 months. I was working with care in 2002. So I'm not the same. I'm not like the other politicians. They are looking for a job. Me, I'm looking for an opportunity to transform Nigeria. Us our government, I will be speaking to the power to make sure that this goes through. I will speak to the international community anytime, truthfully, and for the way we are governed. It is my moral obligation. It is my national obligation. It's the only way I can show my patriotism, and I cannot live without telling the truth. I will live in agony, because, as I usually say, I'm loyal to 2 C's, my country and my conscience, and I cannot betray it. We have the ability to change the direction of this government the way we want to collectively. If you remember, in January, I went to Grand General. I spoke on Grand General Radio. I saw the road, and I said, if the government does not rehabilitate this road during the rainy season, the stock is will be cut off from Liberia. I came and went to Truth FM Radio and say, I'm calling on President Walker. I'm calling upon the Public Works Minister, the Finance Minister, to put their heads together and declare the bad road condition in this country as a national emergency. So yes, I agree with them for even PPCC, especially for those roads. They presented a national security emergency. The only thing, we need to audit them to make sure that the money was properly spent. But as to the decision to spend the money, I support them. It was necessary to happen at that time. It was a good leadership decision. And they listened to me. I can take credit for it, but I raised the issue. Therefore, I cannot condemn the fact that they took that decision. And they have to account. Accountability cannot be compromised. So thank you for calling me. And I came, like I said, I know, if you my campaign, I said it, that the only impediment to development in Africa, like many other countries in Africa, included, is corruption. And so, let's fight. Let's talk to our lawmakers. Any rumor we hear, let's flag it, let them answer. We are hearing rumors that senators took what, $13,000 each for 4 days meeting. LACC needs to go to that. You see, I have been advocating for LACC, and the LPP in a statement issued that we do not need to create ad hoc committees to perform a statutory duty. The LACC is the institution that was created by people of Liberia through the lawmakers that represent the people. And through the people, the president that was elected by the people. Let's make the LACC work. Let's provide all of the resources for LACC to work. If there is not an asset recovery unit in LACC, then let's have one. It must be an LSCC function. It cannot be outsourced. It should not be outsourced. How can you create the people of Liberia through the representative, create an institution, and the people represented through the president here alone just undermine the people by setting up an institution? You establish, it is the Unity Party that for the first time in the history of Liberia introduced the idea of tenure. For me, the Unity Party should be the last party to undermine tenure by any means. Because what the Unity Party is doing is like, publishing a book when you're in opposition, then by chance when you win the election, your first law becomes, the book is banned, and anybody seen reading that book will be jailed. Will you still have integrity? Will the people still trust you? Because you keep an idea that made the people to elect you. Then you get there and say, you know what happened? As our opponent said, the bridge I used to cross, I will cut it so that nobody can use it. So, let's stop it. Yes, there are constitutional debatable issues about tenure, but it should not be Unity Party reasoning. Because they introduced it for the first time in the history of our country. And we say, yeah, it's good. And we re-elected Unity Party to have another time in government, and you are saying, the one we did the first time, that book we wrote, the book here we banned it. No, it's wrong. But now, even when the second time in power, Unity Party says, I don't book and change you. When you follow there, then in front and will start changing you. So it will make it difficult for people to accept the ideas that you people. They are creating doubt about their determination to do what is good. I want to thank you, and every time anybody, anywhere in this country, call me to discuss about Liberia, especially the issue of corruption, I'm there with you. Join the good movement for the liberation struggle against the corrupt politicians in Africa. Thank you. And let me say this, I speak about corruption because no politician during the election dared to do what I did. Now one time, I appear on Prime, I appear on one of the radio stations. I challenge any single Liberian to say that Councillor Gongloe serving as the Minister of Justice or as Minister of Labour for 1 cent from government, or to say that he received 1 cent bribe from NM. They're not many people can do that. And I challenge all politicians to do it. Nobody did it because they know when they were going to join the Facebook with people like this. That's the security I have. That's why I can walk any part of Liberia without security. Because I have now offended the people. Don't judge the resources our God put here for our people to live by. And expect us to respect it. Respect is earned. If you don't respect the people by stealing from them, they will not respect you. Thank you very much.